Hi, I'm Wally Wang with Notes from the Underground. I'm here with Nathan Lou at Nathan's Farm. Can you tell us?
Coming soon to Notes from the Underground Special Edition, the Red Eye Nation in San Diego.
Hey, this is Nathan Lou from Mongol Tribe, and you're listening to Notes from the Underground. For me, this is really about community. Because not only am I creating community in an environmental, ecological sense, but I'm creating community, in my human family. And that connection to each other, the connection to culture, it's rooted in food. We're not separate from nature. That's a new concept.
Dia frio, lugar pra ler livro, e pensamento lá em você, e sem você não vivo. Dia triste, toda a fragilidade incide, e o pensamento lá em você, e tudo me divide.
Yeah, it's great. It's nice to be here.
And how much food does how much space does this land have?
So it's a total an acre, and it's about 1/5 of an acre in production now.
Okay.
So,
and how much food can you produce in a 1/5 of an acre?
thousands of pounds.
To feed roughly how many people?
If you eat pomegranates and greens, we're gonna feed them. So yeah, once the trees really get producing, they should hit 3,000 pounds of produce every year. The greens produce probably 500 to 1,000 pounds. Watermelons a few hundred pounds. Squash, same thing. So realistically, comfortably, this 1/5 of an acre can produce 10,000 pounds of food.
Wow.
So it takes time.
Right.
But,
it's not popping up overnight, but
right.
10,000 pounds of food
Yeah.
is still incredible for a 1/5 of an acre.
Yeah. So this is the orchard. It's all on drip irrigation. This white mulberry tree. Got the black Persian mulberry. Ice cream beans.
Back up a bit. You said drip
irrigation.
Irrigation. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's that compared to other type of irrigation?
So some type of irrigation, basically where they have like flood irrigation, where they just open a valve and it just fills an area and then they turn it off.
And that's, I would imagine, very wasteful with water.
Right, because the water will evaporate.
Okay.
Right, so the evapotranspiration is really high because it's being exposed to the sun, it's being exposed to the air, and so not all of that water is being able to be utilized by the roots.
Okay.
So there's only a certain percentage that can be absorbed. Right. With drip irrigation, it's essentially it's direct watering to the root region, and so you're reducing your amount of evapotranspiration. So by setting that up, we're reducing the demand of water, and whereas other irrigation systems, it can be. It can take a lot more energy and water to really provide what's necessary for the trees.
Okay.
And especially we're in a drought, so this being San Diego, part of this orchard for me is really showing drought tolerance. So most of the trees I have planted here are able to live off of very limited water. I only water once a week.
Wow.
So for 2 hours on drip irrigation.
So roughly how much gallons of water do you think you're using?
I have probably about 500 feet of drip irrigation, and there's emitters every foot that run about a gallon per minute. About a gallon per hour, sorry. I have it for 2 hours, so it's putting about 2 gallons times 500, so maybe about 1,000 gallons at the most every week.
Wow, that doesn't seem like a lot for all of these plants. And so what type of plants you were saying you grow here?
So I have mainly pomegranates. I have 7 different types of pomegranates, and 3 types of figs, 2 types of mulberries, ice cream beans, I have loquat, there's a few types of citrus, kumquats, oranges, lemons, pineapple guava, which is a feijoa, moringa, have a little bit of everything that doesn't take much water. Anything that's drought tolerant for me is really important. And then also a lot of these trees, like the fig, pomegranate, and mulberries, you can reproduce them from cuttings. So they're a famine food.
Okay.
It's really important because famine food is, especially in a drought, trees that can be grown. Like I said, each of these pomegranates can produce 300 pounds of fruit a year. So if I have 10 of those, that's 3,000 pounds. Right, and that's again like only a couple gallons of water every week.
Wow.
So to think that like the potential of having 50 trees and only having 100 gallons of water every week.
Right.
That's not that much.
Well, how do you deal with bugs?
So most of the time with bugs, if really haven't really dealt with too much. A little bit here and there, but usually if I catch it early enough, I can just trim it out, remove it.
Okay.
But most of the trees that I've planted, there's an acceptable balance. Like for example, the figs. The fig eater beetles are the most challenging pests. They come out and they want to eat your figs, right? But they're waiting till it's ripe, right? So they're decomposers. They want to break down that fig, and then their larvae actually help break down the soil. So there's a balance of, I want them, right? But I don't want to give up all my figs.
Right.
But what's beautiful is that they only go after the overripe figs.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
So and then I'm able to still come out regularly and harvest, and I'm harvesting what's ripe. And if I come out and if I harvest every day, then I won't have as many bugs.
Right.
But if I'm only here once or twice a week,
right.
Hey, I give up 1 or 2 fruits, but
Right.
I still get my fruit out of it too.
So what percentage do you think you lose into pests?
Well, with the figs, maybe only 10%, if that. I lose 1 out of 10 figs to them.
Yeah. Okay.
And
in return, they're doing the soil and.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's a balance. And so I have because I don't spray any pesticides. There's no herbicide sprayed. Everything is more perennial permaculture philosophies, biodynamics, where we're utilizing the shedding and waste of the plants as fertilizer, and restoring that natural balance of pest management. So we have a lot of beneficial insects. So ladybugs, I see ciphrid flies, lots of different wasps and creatures that help maintain and control the pest populations. So that side of it for me is that's the most important part. Is I want to create life, not destroy life, right? I'm a nurturer, so I want to raise plants not only for food for us, but for those other little creatures that do work that we don't always think about.
So let's say in a traditional farm, they would use pesticides, so they would kill all the bugs.
Yeah.
But then now they lose the benefits that the bugs create when they. So now how do they? They would have to put more fertilizer.
More pesticides, more fertilizers,
so
more management.
Okay, so the time, the cost,
and the environmental impact.
The pesticides are killing the good bugs as well as the bad bugs.
And polluting the soil and our water.
Okay.
So those sides of it are really challenging, because then what happens is the ripple effect, right? Where as those herbicides make it down towards the river, they kill a lot of the plants around the river, and then we have fires, right? So it's a ripple effect. So it's really important to make the connection between management systems and how we influence and impact nature around us. The health of the whole ecosystem is nurtured, then we'll receive nourishment from it. So that's the philosophy behind not spraying, because I want to encourage a healthy ecosystem.
Okay.
So there's in a sense there's a little bit given in as far as like how large the produce may get, right? So that's a lot of it too. You see this oversized commercial produce that is unrealistic, right?
It's too massive, and the color is wrong. It doesn't smell.
It doesn't even taste good. It's bland.
Right.
So it's like steroids, right? That's how I think about it. It's like
steroid
food.
Food.
We could put steroids in our plant, and then we're just eating all this imitation energy. Whereas with the nature, it's only going to produce so much. And if we're planting in abundance, rather than living in lack, then there's going to always be more than we need. And that's part of it. That's why I have so much food, and I'm able to share it.
And it's just this little plot of land.
Yeah, we could easily feed dozen families out of the space like this.
Right.
So for here we have a reduced cost as far as we have a full season. We don't necessarily have to have any special equipment.
Right. The cold weather, you don't have to deal with that. Or storms, hurricanes.
Right. But we also have higher costs for water at times.
Right.
Okay.
So
it's finding that balance of what is realistic in your region, because it's a puzzle. Each ecosystem is going to be unique. And in San Diego, we have hundreds of microclimates. So this farm is not necessarily replicable in every place in San Diego even. It's going to have its dynamic shift. I started out in an apartment. So I had less than 200 square feet, a small space. It was just bare dirt, and I just asked the landlord if I could plant some things there or bring some containers in. So I brought containers in, where one of my fig trees I planted even in the container. 15-gallon pot, I get 5 pounds of figs every year out of it. You know,
Wow.
so
Just out of one little tree.
out of one little tree, it stays short, it's controllable.
In your apartment.
In an apartment building, yeah, in the middle of San Diego, in the city, right next to the zoo where I can hear the monkeys, you know? So, you know, it's totally something that is approachable. We just have to have an engagement. If we like to cook, let's say we like to cook Italian food, we start planting some of those culinary herbs that we like. And those are really easy to grow in containers. So that aspect of it is, it makes it accessible to people. And that's an important part is we have to start planting those seeds, right? We have to get the ball rolling so that way we are open to it. It's like starting a new painting, right? It's the hardest thing to do is get the first stroke on there.
Get started,
right?
Yeah.
So once you get your first splash, then it's like, oh, now I can do this. So you know, it takes time, but it is realistic in a small scale. So,
wow, that's amazing. So what would be your final word to somebody who just is interested in natural organic farm?
Well, you know, it's about the love. It's the connection. You know, and the more we connect to nature and the food that we grow and eat, the more we start to open ourselves to that nourishment. That is Nathan Lou from Mongol Tribe. You can find us at mongoltribe.org and on Instagram and Facebook at Mongol Tribe. And you're listening to Notes from the Underground. We're not separate from nature. You know, that's a new concept. That's a very Western concept. So that connection to nature is rooted in all of our native traditions. You know, where does our food come from? Where do we come from? How are we connected? And the more we have a relationship with that genetic relationship, then we start to understand why we eat certain foods and why certain foods nourish us more than others.
Folks, welcome to Notes from the Underground here in beautiful San Diego. We're actually in North County, and we get a chance and opportunity to be here at Beetleseuss. That's right, Beetleseuss Glass Blowing Company. Our very own Kristen Yoder from Soul to the Oil will get a chance to interview Tyler in regards to glass blowing.
I'm feeling high, and it's not just the candy sky, 'cause I'm scared. I've been through broken hearts and lost dreams, but it seems like this could be a real thing. You're that special kind of magic manifested.
So right now we're up in Carlsbad, a couple miles from the beach. I got this studio like 6 years ago, about 2012, and yeah, we've been rocking out up here.
That's awesome. So, how long have you been blowing glass?
I started getting into glass in like 1998. I was buying and selling pipes, kind of out of the house, really.
Yeah.
And then I got so interested in it that some of my friends from Corvallis came down and started showing me how to do it, and I just started doing it for a living from there on out. Yeah, I just was dreaming about it every night. I loved it. Like I couldn't stop thinking about it.
What got you into it?
Basically, just how pretty it was. When you look at like a marble, it's that you know that sense of adventure that you get, that the mystical like of the unknown inside there. Could be anything going on, you know. And like I wanted to create that myself. And, like,
Yeah.
you know, I felt like I could wrap my head around that, and I was able to do it.
Were you consuming cannabis when you started
Oh
blowing
yeah,
glass?
absolutely.
So it was
Yeah.
like you appreciated marbles, but you were also looking to blow pieces,
Totally, yeah.
right?
And if I could make my own,
Yeah.
it's like,
So did you make marbles?
I was making marbles and pipes, yeah.
You know, like people used to put marbles in the soil to help with like root absorption, and so when it rains a lot, the like soil doesn't run away.
That's a good idea.
So I found like a marble patch in the front yard of my home when I was a kid, and I spent years just like digging hella far this big ass hole in the front of my house, like finding little marbles. It was so exciting.
Right.
So I get that. Well, so tell me, how do you sell your glass? Do you sell it to shops? Do you sell it?
Well, a lot of the glass that I'm trying to make right now would be like a production line. I'm starting this thing, or you know, a situation company, whatever you want to call it, called Fam Jammers, and it's basically like, you know, this whole take on like jammers and family.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
the whole Grateful Dead thing and everything. I'm trying to bring all that old school to the new school. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've got this production line that I'm trying to launch right now, and those will be going to stores. Those will be wholesale orders, and along with that, I also have some nicer quality glass that I kind of keep around to sell to like, you know, the special.
The wealthy people.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, dude. You always gotta get them the gangster.
Sure.
So with the different glass that you make and you work with, I dated someone when I was 14 who was a glass blower, and he said that it was the cost that most people don't get into it because just buying the glass and buying the oxygen.
Yeah,
is
it's
really
definitely,
expensive.
that's a real thing. It's really expensive.
Like, what do you think on a monthly average you spend on your supplies?
I mean, just my overhead here for this place is like upward to $4,000 a month, pretty
Yeah.
much, and that's just a minimum. Like without buying glass and without buying, that's just bills, really.
Yeah.
And then that's the whole thing, is being able to manipulate that. And there's no ceiling on glass. Tomorrow I could create something that could be worth 10 times, you know, what I've made in the past. And that's kind of the fun of it, really,
Yeah.
you know. And right now, if you go look over here, I've been like making my own colors. And,
Oh yeah. So this is called Latticina,
well,
right?
This is kind of my own.
Where like you twist them into each other
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, that's a little different, I think, than just like regular colors. They've been making like really pretty views and stuff. All my these would be all made here in the shop by me, and then I'm using them.
They're all custom.
Yeah, it's all custom stuff, and that's a way for me to.
So how do you make a color? Do you use like glass and pigment or something?
I would take like some of the pigment starts like here with some of these raw colors. It's a really saturated blue, so I'd come up with something like that afterwards.
Yeah.
It's a little prettier.
So how do you cope with your glass that you spend all this time making the colors and which is valuable, and trying to compete with Chinese knockoff glass that literally every glass shop sells at a very low price?
That's
because
a
they
really,
pay
really good
nearly-
question.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Like, how do you compete with that?
So,
Especially
over
because
time, I've had to
it's
compete
the
with that.
price.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
where you're competing.
What I have a couple of weapons in my quiver for that, and it's like basically I'm making my own color out of pigments they don't have, and they don't know how I'm doing it. So, and it's also more time consuming, and they're not paying for that out there. So right then and there, I'm creating a situation that China can't touch, and that they won't touch.
But will the consumers pay more?
I'm trying to make that price like, you know, affordable too.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing with this production line. And it's all dab stuff too. So I'm fitting into that norm, and also I'm figuring out how to compete with China.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone ever thinks about how important China and globalization impacts the industry.
And we're all of us are up against it. And
I know.
I had a
Stop
conversation
the
with my
glass
friend that you know, runs this company, and he's told me this. We're talking today about how like they keep ahead of the game, and it's style, really. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like if you're the one creating the best style, then that's what everybody's going to want. Also, having like a background growing up in San Diego in the skateboard and surfing industry, and seeing
think it's the
how
story.
seeing how color works, I think maybe as a way that I can get past that and like get to a point where I can make things that people are always going to want.
So do you sell your products, or do you have people sell your products?
I gotta go do it. I gotta do all that later.
Do you notice that when you're doing the selling, you're teaching and telling a story about why it's different? I mean,
Yeah, every time.
like what you're doing is an art. So
For
of
sure.
course the artist is going to be like, yeah, I did this and I've done this, and because I mean, in the end, a lot of glass people, glass shops, they have those shops because the margin is freaking insane on some foreign glass. But what I don't know if people realize is that shit has lead in the paint. Like, you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know what the fume is, which is like the colored tint of the glass that
It's
changes when it gets
some
dirty.
of it's painted. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, so do you ever stress the fact that at least you
Yeah.
know what you're getting?
I think that what's happening right now, that there's a movement of stores that are trying to go more American because these consumers are asking for it. For
so
sure.
pesticides
So I think
and
that's changing.
solvents is making us aware that like what is in our cartridges or like our pipes or whatever. Because I ran a dispensary, so I would go buy all the glass downtown LA, like in the hood, like Skid Row, literally.
Yeah,
It's like the next block over. Yeah, and they're like $1.50, $2 for an elephant pipe that sells for like $100 on the boardwalk. It's insane. So I just think that's got to be one of the more difficult aspects.
People are really trying to attach themselves to the artist now. When you buy a piece, I want to know, like, they want to know where it's coming from and who made it. Does that guy have the same interest as me? Like, you know, they don't want Chinese pipe anymore. It's not like, and also some of the stores that are becoming savvy to this, they are, you know, getting rid of the China, going more toward this American line and leaving the stores selling the China in the dust. Give it a couple more years and stuff's going to start to turn around, I feel like.
So that's actually cool how, as much as I hate Prop 64, I think that's like a whole other thing though, it's making people, consumers, aware of what they're consuming and making it so that we actually start looking for, requesting better products. I always say that like the best way to vote is with your dollar. Buy things from people you support, because if we just keep shopping at Walmart, all the mom and pop shops die out.
I agree.
Traveling Hands is a company of highly talented massage therapists. Everybody's very, very good at what they do, and we travel all over Southern California. The other part that really separates us is the staff. I've personally been in the spa business for about 20 years. I've been doing massage for over 15 of those. Everybody that works with me has had to give me a massage, so I know firsthand their techniques, where they really shine. So if somebody calls me looking for something specific, I know which therapist to set them up with. Right now we have about 15 on staff. When you hire us for massage, you can expect that we're going to show up on time. We're going to bring all the equipment. We're going to make you as comfortable as possible in your own space, and you're going to get a great massage, and you're going to feel better afterwards.
Million children in this country live in a household with a loaded, unlocked gun. 4.6 million. That's my daughter's play date, your child's play date, your grandchild, your friend, your brother. It's our friend. It's mind-boggling.
Folks, welcome again to Notes from the Underground here in beautiful San Diego, here at the Music Box. And we're here to stop and end gun violence now. And we have an opportunity to speak with who?
Paris, Bravo.
Paris, Bravo. But what brought you out to really end this gun violence? What was your story you can tell us about that has affected you personally?
Well, my cousin was actually affected with what happened with guns. And he was just driving on the freeway and he got shot 2 times out of 11. So he just out of road rage. So like it's kind of sad because you don't know what's gonna happen until you're affected by it.
It's true. And what do you think we can do right now, even with this going on and all the violence going on? What is one of the things you can see right now that we can help support our age, our generation, and that community at your time now? Like, how old are you? Let everybody know.
I'm 13 years old.
13 years old. Opinion on that. What can we do to help stop some of this violence?
Focusing on the people, not the guns, because if a gun was sitting right there and there's not someone to pull the trigger, the guns are not the problem. It's the people who have it, and it's people who are not in the right mindset who hurt people and thinking that it's not going to affect someone else because it's a domino.
Folks, thank you again for your time. Notes from Underground, Music Box, San Diego. Watch the Jiu-Jitsu on Earth. Meet you up. Throwing fireballs out here. There you go. We do our Street Fighter tournament coming up soon, and we'll have her in. So we'll talk about that soon. Peace. Stop the violence. Folks, welcome to Notes from the Underground, Red Eye Nation edition here, locally here on San Diego Channel 4, as well as Viceland coming soon to you. I'm here and welcome with Notes from the Notes, Karina Rose.
Hello, how are you?
I'm talking about music notes.
Oh, got it, music notes.
There you go. Karina Rose, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to see you again.
You as well.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. But I'm excited. You got some new energy going on. What has got you into the new music that you're playing now? Some of the new sound that you have, I noticed, coming up here in 2019.
The new sound is spiritual and sexy. I mean, it always was. It's just evolved. And yeah, the people I met this year, the inspiration that I got from living life. I wrote some new songs. I decided I wanted to create an album that was the journey to finding, experiencing, and connecting with love, so that when I sang it, I could embody that and that I could give that energy to my audience.
Love it. Your music, and there's a song for me that started it off for me, just for whatever reason it touched me. It's a song called Magic.
I knew you would like that one.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I ain't even lie to you. I'm like, I'm in love. I mean, you know, people go see a star. That's a hit song.
Cool.
Magic. Where did that come from? Where did you derive that from?
My inspiration for that song was two things. Well, there was one individual that inspired the lyrics, but the chord progression is what you won't do for love. You tried everything, but you don't give up. It's that song.
Whoa.
So I happened to really like that song, and I was playing it one day.
You, whoa.
So then I played it, and then I just wrote my own. I did my own remix.
It's all right.
Give that away.
I like that. Magic.
Yeah.
Here on Notes from the Underground Channel 4.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Here on KNSJ Red Eye Nation Special Edition.
The feeling that I'm feeling is only getting stronger. Now take me home, where I wanna go. Back to my place, you can come if you want, but you gotta get out of this place, 'cause they're at the close and it's getting kinda late. So take me home, where I wanna be. Back to my place, you can come with me, but tonight I'm gonna sleep in my own bed. No, I'm not gonna sleep on a dirty couch. I promise that I'll make it breakfast. So take me home is where I wanna go. Back to my place, so you could come if you want. I'll be out of there. I'm out of this place. Can't stay about to close and it's getting late. So take me home is where I wanna be. Back to my place, so you could come if